Everyone, welcome to the webinar. My name is Michael Bartolomei. I'm with Launch Control, and I'm joined today by Jimmy Quigg from New Western. How are you, Jimmy?
Pretty good. How you doing today, Michael?
Doing really well. So everyone listening in, the chat box is open below. Let us know where you're joining us from, and go ahead and pop any questions in there along the way. We are going to have a Q&A session at the end of this one, so we'll get to all your big questions. Um, so the reason for this is, Launch and New Western, both really big communities of investors across the nation. And we noticed a trend that a lot of launch control users were relying really heavily on New Western in their dispo process to just rapidly increase their revenue and create consistency in their businesses. And New Western was noticing the same thing from the other end, that a lot of the deals that they were processing on their end started with launch control and with SMS engagement. And so we saw this opportunity to just take that network that was already organically in place and just make it really visible for everyone. So we're going to show you guys kind of exactly how we're going to work together and how you can take advantage of that so that we can create these pipelines from all of the markets that New Western covers across the country and use launch control as a starting point to just build really consistent, really high profit generating funnels for your business. So Jimmy, let's do this. I'll start off first. I know you guys sent an invite out to a lot of people in your audience who may not be familiar with launch control, and vice versa. We sent this one out to our community as well. So I'll kick it off. I'll give a light introduction to launch control and then you introduce New Western, and then we'll get into the meat of it. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, awesome. All right, so Launch Control is an SMS engagement software. We're the #1 SMS engagement platform in the real estate investment space and have been for the last 7 years or so, right? In addition to being an incredible lead generation tool, Launch Control is also a really big community that's focused on helping investors gain traction and grow their businesses. So part of when you come to work with us at Launch Control, you're not just gaining access to the platform, you're also gaining access to our team, getting a dedicated customer success rep assigned to your account. That rep is going to help you not only stand up the account, but really stand up your text marketing for your business and all of the best practices that you need to take that data that you're putting into the system and very quickly convert that into discovery calls so you can get into the real heart of real estate investing and then turn those deals that you get through launch right over to Jimmy and his team and have a profit structure in place. You're also getting a connection to our larger community. We've got a weekly podcast that we put out called Deal Nation. We've got community groups that you can join to connect and problem solve together from within the community. And of course, leveraging the platform as a foundational part of your business to build very consistent deal flow month in and month out that then connects over to New Western. All right, Jimmy, you want to take it from there?
Yeah, sure. So New Western is it's really an investment real estate marketplace, right? So we've got an avenue, obviously, for buyers, for sellers, agents, wholesalers, hard money lenders that all basically come to this marketplace to buy, sell, and transact single to four family investment residential homes. So again, when entities like buyers and wholesalers and agents are coming to the marketplace to do business, just like with launch control, they're really getting to be part of the team as well, because every market that we're in, and I'll put up a slide here that shows kind of the coverage for us across the nation, but every market that we're in, we actually have a team of state licensed agents that are handling the relationships on both sides of the transaction for buyers, sellers, again, agents and wholesalers.
Awesome. So Jimmy, we talked about this as we talked about kind of how to grow this program and really how to expand the offering to both of our audiences. We identified some pretty common, I won't say problems, but certainly hurdles that any investor has to go through that launch in conjunction with a new Western can really solve quite easily. And those main topics are those main hurdles that people have to get over are buy box limitations, whether that's in their own market or expanding into new markets. Speed of play and being able to dispo things. Whether you're a brand new entrepreneur or you're running a big shop, that ability to go from lead to conversation to contract to dispo to transaction processing and then turning it back around and doing it all over again. Even when you have incredible systems in place, there's still slowdown in places that you don't want slowdown, right? And then just in general, especially as whether you're getting started or you're growing, on the ground market expertise, true market expertise, so you know the true value of any property that you're discussing and the true potential revenue of any property that you're discussing. There's an incredible amount of research and prep that typically needs to go into that. So I wanted to kind of hand the keys over to you here because you and your on the ground team are really you remove those hurdles for people. And so I want to give, especially for anybody that's using launch control and has hit those hurdles, or is coming in from, if you're coming in from New Western and you're looking for new ways to get leads in, you can pretty quickly imagine if launch control can tee up X number of discovery calls every month, what's going to happen on the back end working with Jimmy and his team. So Jimmy, if you can just kind of cover those three things, I think that will really give some transparency to the funnel.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And we'll just go right down the line and I'll start with, the limited buy box. And, you spoke about it being, whether it's in your own market that you're already working or when you're looking to expand and especially when you're looking to expand, right? Like, as you start to grow, whether you're already established or, you're already a pro outfit and you're doing a lot of business, growth from market to market can be a little bit cumbersome. And so whenever you're building a relationship with New Western, it basically helps you get going a lot quicker because we're already in those markets doing business, getting real-time results of what buyers are paying for in those markets. And then, again, we're licensed agents. So we already have access to the MLS and stuff there, and we're already running comps and just super familiar with all the areas that go into a market as a whole. And then, if as far as it being in a single market in buy box, you're really kind of talking about price. And I think, Michael, what we kind of talked about just in a previous conversation was, investors, when they're using launch control and they come across deals that may not necessarily fit their buy box as far as like price or like percentage that they're looking to buy at. Well, whenever you're having a relationship with a New Western agent, they're going to have buyers that fit those buy boxes that you don't have as it pertains to those things. And it's a way for you to kind of capture, some more revenue whenever you're working these leads that are teed up through launch control. You're not kind of wasting those. So that's a little bit about how we help with the buy box situation. The speed of play, it just goes back to automation, right? Like being selling a home can be a little bit cumbersome as well, right? Like finding an investor that fits that particular deal. There's a lot of investors out there and you're kind of combing through, and then you may find one and then you get one on the line and then they get cold feet and they want to back out and you think you have the deal sold and now you don't have it sold and you're still really kind of working and pushing and trying to sell this deal. All that time that you're spending trying to do that, you can just basically hand it over to us, let us completely automate that disposition side, and you spend all of your time working that pipeline that launch control's teeing up for you, to get more deals in the same timeline as you would the one deal by trying to do the whole process yourself. So that's really kind of the speed of play aspect. And then what was it? The local market knowledge. So again, it's the same thing as what we were talking about whenever we were helping wholesalers stand up new markets. Again, we're licensed agents. We're there on the ground, boots on the ground, doing deals, doing a ton of deals. In the marketplace, we're buying and selling a home like every 13 minutes. So we're working in extremely high volume. So we're able to see things like real time. I know in particular scenarios where you may get a deal in a certain neighborhood that you think, oh, well, the rest of this market, I can sell it at this percentage. But in this particular neighborhood, maybe that percentage is a little bit less, right? Like maybe everywhere in this market, you're selling deals at 80%. But in this particular neighborhood, you can only sell at 75%. And then even deeper than that, maybe only this pocket of this one neighborhood, you can sell at only 72%. And if you're not doing the kind of volume that we're talking about doing, it's hard to find those kind of things, find out that part of the market that we really help and, help really kind of pinpoint in and give that local real-time like knowledge to the wholesaler of what things are moving for so that you can be prepared to make the offer that you need to whenever you're speaking with the seller. And then, on the flip of that, right? Like maybe in this market, you're selling everything at 80%, but we're telling you, oh man, we can probably sell in this market at 82, 83% in this neighborhood. That's going to help you with, expanding revenue on the front side there, just from having that, again, that local market knowledge. So not only does it help you set you up for success in the beginning, it can actually even help you with, with capturing a little bit more revenue on a deal. So that I think, Michael, that explains all three of those that you were talking about.
Yeah. So with all three of those, what I really get out of that is everyone using this funnel is getting a combination of risk reduction, time savings, and opportunity. Right. So if someone's coming in at any stage of investment and they want to, get into a new market, even if that market is adjacent to their existing market, they're going to need to do some, before they reach out to any sellers, they're going to need to do some in-depth research, running comps in that area. They're going to need to find out, the last 18 months, how many wholesaling deals have been done, what were the margins on those deals. They're going to need to find buyers that are active in that area, reach out to those buyers, establish a connection or establish a relationship. Then they're going to need to go into launch control, put in some data, fire up some conversations, get onto discovery calls, and all of this in a market where they've yet to transact a property. Right. So there's a certain amount of, I hope this works, as opposed to I know this is going to work. Right. And even within the launch control community, thousands of investors nationwide, we've only really got a handful of shops that have the sophistication to really go into multiple new markets, do all of that, have a person on staff that can do all of that research, market research, have an existing organic network of people that they can leverage in terms of buyers, realtors in the area, et cetera, and all of the systems and processes in place to make that run smoothly. And not a single one of those has less than 15 years of experience in the industry. And so it's a slow build to get up to that. But with this funnel, anyone can step in and they can immediately enter new markets with essentially zero risk and a guaranteed end result, right? Where you're guaranteed to get the leads through launch, you're guaranteed to be able to get accurate numbers and a deal in that market through New Western. And if the deal's not there, right? If the wholesaler's expectations don't meet the realities of that market as your team knows them to be, you're going to tell them. You're going to be honest and just say, right. We're not going to be able to do it at those margins.
Yeah, that's, and all that coupled with the fact that, the biggest, thing about building a relationship with us is we've got buyers. I tell wholesalers all the time that, if we can't sell the deal, no one can. You know what I mean? Like we've got tons of buyers everywhere we're at. and our agents are pushing to get more buyers in that market and going. You've got just the whole sales team on the backside. So you get all this knowledge working with us and all this automation. And what it really boils down to is we also, we get deals done.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm looking at the list of these markets that you guys reach nationally, and some of these are difficult markets, right? These are markets where local expertise is really needed. Los Angeles, not an easy market. Tampa, tons of competition, not an easy market. Plenty of buyers, but creating those relationships and getting the numbers that you want, not easy. Phoenix, not easy, right? Tons of
Yeah,
competition in Phoenix. And
that's right.
we're talking about speed of play. Speed of play is extremely important in those really high, those markets with a ton of competition. Because if you don't close on the deal, somebody's going to, right? So
That's right.
having your team being able to help them execute very quickly is really a benefit to anybody using the funnel. And so I'm looking at this and I'm seeing this map, and I can kind of imagine the ecosystem in my head, the network of, I know of a bunch of our subscribers in those markets that I just mentioned. And I can see these funnels connecting to you guys and that market and the amount of money that's going to come out of that. And I love it.
Yeah.
But I also want to make sure that everybody here kind of clearly understands that this is a system that will work for anyone at any stage of investment. So
Yeah.
with launch control, our subscriber levels tend to sync up really closely with the stages that investors scale up at. And so if somebody comes in and they're on our light subscription, there's a good chance that they're still working a W-2. They're a little light on cash. They're definitely light on connections, but they're in it, right? They want to see results. And as soon as they can see some money flowing in, they can make the transition to dedicating their whatever amount of time they want to dedicate to this. They can dedicate this to real estate investment because now they've got a proven use case that they can be a full-time investor. That can be their cash flow for their life, right? So
That's right.
this, I want to start there and see how people that are really just getting started can set their foundation, to set that consistency of foundation through this funnel of launch to New Western to more quickly make that transition.
Yeah. So for the people just getting going, there's a lot, right? Like they're wide-eyed, they're very hungry to get going, and they're a lot on want to and not a lot on resources, right? So not only is working with us, because at all levels, right? Like, I mean, we even have the big guys that are reaching out to us and using us for the knowledge that we have and stuff like that. But one of the biggest ways that I see us help wholesalers who are kind of just getting going is the fact that we're not charging them anything, right? Like we don't make money unless we sell their deal. So, there's a lot of services popping out there into the industry that, can get your deal in front of, potential end buyers, but it leaves you with doing all the work of the deal. And then also a lot of those cost money, right? That new starting out people working in those W-2 jobs, they may not have the extra resources to spend on those kind of things. And so when you're partnering with us, we work on assignment with wholesalers. So they make their assignment fee, and then we turn around and try to make what we can in the marketplace with the end buyer. So we're not charging these wholesalers anything to get on board and work with us. So that's probably the biggest thing that I see with newer, obviously, other than just the absolute wealth of knowledge by building a relationship with us that they get, but that knowledge goes at all levels. And I think the fact that having limited resources as when you're first starting out is a huge plus for these guys.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you mentioned that there's no cost associated with this. So obviously, launch control has a cost per subscription to access the platform. But that's out of all marketing channels within the real estate investment space, it's the lowest barrier of entry. But access to this funnel, to the launch control new Western funnel, we're not upselling anything here. This was
That's
just
right.
an obvious need and an obvious opportunity for our user bases, and we just wanted to shine a light on it. So this is we're opening the door, but there's no barrier to entry here. The door's just open.
That's right. Yeah.
So the next stage up after somebody just getting started, when people get to the core subscription for launch control, the stage that they're typically at in their career, not everyone, but typically, is they're now at that place where they know real estate investment is going to work for them. They've got enough deals coming in that they're likely sourcing VAs or outsourcing a part of their process. They're contacting us. We have a done-for-you service called Launch Leads, where we handle all of the text engagement so they can get their time back. Right, so they're looking into opportunities like that so that they can focus all of their attention on the business of closing deals, right? Getting on discovery calls, getting deals under contract, and turning back and moving on to the next deal, which obviously you guys can help speed up. So on the front end, we can help by outsourcing text marketing via Launch Leads. And then, given that time savings is such a big issue for people at that stage, how can New Western kind of help them get their time back and increase their deal flow in that space?
Yeah. And again, it maybe sound like I'm being redundant here, but it really just comes down to the fact that we completely automate their disposition side. It can really, really take a lot, and we've kind of gone over it at multitude here so far in this, but it really can take a long time to get deals sold, and you can spend a lot of time spinning your wheels on a deal that you may never get done. As compared to us, we're helping you with the speed as far as giving you the knowledge and the idea of what you need, the kind of price point you need to be at on the deal, and then on the back side, just completely automating that entire disposition side, handling the buyer all the way to closing, and you're not having to deal with that. Then you spend your time on other things, and so that just speeds up the whole process.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next leap from somebody that's at a core subscription level to launch is they're going up to the pro and enterprise level. And one of the big differentiating factors there is that people at the pro and enterprise level tend to be very diversified. So they've got a set number of doors in their portfolio. They're doing wholesales. They've got some fix and flips. They have enough cash reserves that turning the properties over quickly isn't as paramount. They've got a lot of different paths that they can go down. So, but just to finish things off at that core level, because they do lack that diversification typically, speed of play and the ability to turn around a volume of deals is extremely important to be able to get up to that level of diversification, right? So if you guys can help them bring in 20-30% more deals over the course of a year, because they're able to turn those deals around quickly and not get stuck in the mire of the dispo process, then they can take a portion of the profits from all of those extra deals and use that to diversify, right? That's how they can get into buying getting a couple rental properties stood up and adding doors to their portfolio, of taking 2 months to fix and flip a property, get 50-60 grand out of that, turn that back into the business, right? So the freedom of cash that comes by increasing the volume of deals at that middle stage is really everything that the investors are going to need to make the leap to the next stage.
That's right.
So I know you guys work for some really big shops too. You alluded to it earlier in the stage that even some people that have boots on the ground in lots of markets, that have great buyer networks, that have acquisitions teams that they trust. They can go to a vacation in Hawaii and know that their teams are running the show while they're gone. But they're still coming to you. They're still working with you. So let's talk about your relationship with what we would label for our pro or enterprise level, but you guys are probably just whales. I don't know what you call them, but
no, it's just professional outfits, man. So again, the professional and to touch on again the professional outfits, I mean they benefit from the beginning to end of everything we've talked about as the perks of working with us, but more so when we're talking about expanding into new markets and us already being there, doing deals, having the knowledge. I've worked with groups that we've expanded into multiple markets since working with them, and they didn't really have to hire maybe one other person, and because we're handling the process for them, and all they're worrying about is acquisitions in those markets. And then the guys that are in the situation like you're talking about, Michael, where they already have, maybe a team of dispo guys as well. It just goes back to what I was talking about, is it stands to the fact that we're doing such a high volume everywhere that we're at, and we have such a long reach into the market where we're at, that a lot of times, we definitely have those relationships where, a wholesaler, one of these big outfits will get a deal. They'll try to see if they can't get it moved. If they can't after a day or two, then they're hitting my line and saying, hey, let's see what you guys can do. And then we get into the race, so to speak, and get to running and get the deal done for them.
Right. So obviously this is a really good fit for investors at any stage of development, right? Because a lot of things that we discuss, risk reduction, speed of play, the ability to lean on market expertise outside of your own team, and just really have a secondary check, confidence check, really within that market. And really, something that a word that I think we really want to stress here, having a partner in those markets is super valuable at any stage of investment, and that's really what it is. Really what it is for you guys, right? Because I want to make sure everybody listening here understands this, that the New Western team, the launch control team, we don't benefit from single deals being processed through this funnel. It's not about the capture and close of a single deal. What benefits both of us is what benefits you. It's having that consistent pipeline and that consistent, trust factor in partnerships, of knowing that on the front end, you're going to be able to consistently tee up conversations with sellers and get into the nitty gritty of what they need in those conversations, and then be able to turn around and work with Jimmy and his team to dispo those properties. And if you can lean on that as a consistent foundational pipeline in your business, like, in full transparency, Jimmy and his team are going to keep you as partners long term for the longevity of your investing career, and so are we at Launch Control, right? Because both of our teams are going to be foundational to what you do as an investing organization. So it really is about the length and breadth of the partnership, not just the outcome of a single deal.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I say it all the time. I mean, the word that probably comes out of my mouth more than any other word is relationship. I mean, it's just super, super important to us to build those and maintain those relationships, because just like you said, man, we don't make a whole lot of money per deal. Where we make our living is in the volume that we do. So we want you to be successful and send us everything you can, because we can buy everything you can send.
Absolutely. So let's get into how this works, right? So if anybody that wants to take advantage of this funnel, add this funnel as a foundational tool in their investing business. Jimmy, I'm going to lightly touch on the launch control side of this, and then I'm going to kind of let you take over, because this is really about dispo solutions, right? So
yeah,
if you're a launch control user, you know how powerful the tool can be as a lead generation source. If you're just listening in, you're coming from the New Western audience, you're going to be able to take data and any market that you're currently in or interested in getting some penetration in. If you're already working with Jimmy and his team, they'll be able to give you some early insights into that market that you can kind of use to your advantage on those seller conversations. But you're going to be able to send out text messages and get raised hands. Right. And what we aim for, as I think I mentioned at the top of the webinar, we're not aiming for you to transact via text. We're aiming for text to filter out of what are just names on a data sheet, to find out the people that are looking at their phone in their hand and saying, yes, I want to have a conversation about my home. All right. So if you can filter down to that, then you know who your captive audience is. So once we've delivered your captive audience, if you can get them onto a phone, a percentage of those onto a phone call, get them to the stage of discovery, now they're into your lead conversion part of your funnel, right? So that's a very, very short leap to being able to work with Jimmy and his team on turning that property over and profiting from it, right? So launch works as the top of your funnel. It gives you, any given Monday or Tuesday that you need to generate seller conversations, you need to get onto discovery calls. You can do that, and same day work with Jimmy and his team to see what you can get from that property. So it gives you top of the funnel consistency. So you know that any given day, any given week, any given month, you're generating consistent discovery calls that are teeing up consistent opportunities to dispo with Jimmy and his team. So Jimmy, from there, let's say that they get onto a discovery call via launch, and they have a deal that they're interested in, at least litmus testing with y'all. What's the next step?
Sure. So the next step is, using this link here, right? If you're with Launch Control already and you're finding you're not working with us, then you can go over here to this link. This is what the landing page looks like, and here's kind of a step-by-step. So you submit the deal to us. Depending on the details of the deal, it's either going to be me or somebody, one of the licensed agents with New Western, that's going to reach out to you directly. If you haven't worked with us yet, then that first call is going to be more than just about the deal, right? It's going to be about going ahead and starting to establish that relationship with us. And we'll go over the details of the deal and kind of what to expect from us as far as like timelines, things like that, when working with us. And then once we get past all that, and if you've got the deal under contract already and it's something that we can work with, if you have it a price we can already work with, then we're going to talk the assignment and what it's looking like and what we think we can move it for, and we get it contracted, and then we go into putting it into our marketplace and marketing it, and seeing if we can't get the right buyer lined up for it. If it's not contracted yet, then we're going to talk about, okay, let's do an analysis on this deal and see where's a good point that we can get this thing contracted at. And once you get it contracted, then again, it's just reverts back to, right, you're back with the New Western agent. Okay, we've got it at this deal that we need. Great, let's get the assignment knocked out. We get the deal out in the marketplace, and now our sales teams are working to sell it. So that's just kind of the process there as far as getting it over to us. And then all through that process, you handle the seller, right? Like you're handling the seller as far as getting access and everything like that. We handle the buyer. So it's front and back. And we handle the buyer all the way to close. And then once title's clear and marketable and everything closes in funds, everyone gets paid, and we move on to the next deal.
Yeah. So I want to just kind of highlight the person-to-person aspect of everything that you just said, Jimmy. And so anybody that's getting a deal coming in through Launch Control, for right now, this portal is going to be the primary place for Launch Control users listening in. Let you in on a little secret. We are working on some options to make this in-app easy. Just press a button and be able to connect. But for now, this lets both the Launch Control team and the New Western team know that this was part of the launch New Western funnel. It can help speed up the process. It can help speed up the connection with Jimmy and his team. So it becomes really important. But what I really want to note here is when you put a property in here, right, it looks like a form fill, but what is not going to happen is you're not going to get some AI chatbot popping up that says, what market are you in? How would you like to proceed? You're not getting that kind of mechanized response. This isn't a churn and burn system. This is a person-to-person partnership. So as soon as that lead comes in, you, Jimmy, are personally evaluating, and you are personally either assigning to the best person on the ground in the market in question, or reassigning to someone who they've already worked with, that they already have a set relationship with, and you are essentially building mini teams in each one of these markets and helping to facilitate person-to-person partnerships. So no AI conversations, no multi-step automation to go through, no mechanical process. This is just a portal that is a direct connect between launch control and your boots on the ground team in the markets that they're looking to transact deals.
That's right. Again, relationships are so important to us, right? So we want to have that personal touch as much as we can, and we are a big outfit, and we do a lot of business, but we don't want that to lose sight of what makes us different is the fact that we build those relationships and try to grow people. So, and it just all starts at the beginning, right? Like we can't have a bunch of automated systems, people fighting through to get to us. Like we work them first person, and you get us first person.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, when we've got you guys are in markets across the country. Launch Control has subscribers in essentially every textable market in the country. So what we're looking is to take this from what is right now, hundreds of Launch Control users that are also leveraging New Western to grow their businesses and profit, to thousands, right? And so the easiest way for us as two organizations to really manage the influx of those thousands of opportunities coming through our pipelines is to funnel them through a single source. All right. So by funneling them through this single source, you're able to quickly disposition them to the right person and make the connections that you need to make. So this form that people are seeing on the screen really is the simplest and fastest access point for anyone that wants to transact multiple transactions, no matter how set up their pipeline is with you and your team. This is the starting point, and then it runs from there because they've already got the relationships in place.
That's right. Yeah. And Michael, I just want to make point. For some reason, my lights keep cutting off on me, so I keep moving around. I don't know what's going on over here. So, and then yeah, if Michael, if you want to, we also put this slide here together so that for the New Western wholesalers that are in here and are going to see this, if you want to speak to a little bit the process on your end here.
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody that is listening in that wants to connect Launch Control at the front of that funnel and get some lead flow coming in, the best thing to do is just to go to launchcontrol.us and book a meeting with our team. So our sales team has been involved in real estate investment down to working as acquisitions reps for 5+ years. They're really, really knowledgeable about real estate investing and the stages that investors come in at. So they'll know where to fit you in the Launch Control system in those subscriptions that I mentioned, like for Pro. They can talk through, how much time that you have available, whether the Done-For-You services with launch leads makes sense out of the gate, or if that's something to evaluate later. But it's a good evaluation point to talk with them. And then once you get signed up with Launch Control, you'll be assigned a dedicated customer success rep. That customer success rep, as I mentioned earlier, again, really well REI educated, really well educated in text marketing and best practices. And we send out millions of messages a month. We know what gets results, and we know what drives leads to discovery calls. So you can really lean on them for that. And if you follow, oh yeah, I just got a note from my team. Don't go to launchcontrol.us. Use the link at the bottom of the screen so that we know that it's coming in from New Western. Thanks, team. Appreciate that. Yeah, so use that link at the bottom so we know that you're connecting to the funnel at the front end through New Western. But everything else that I mentioned remains exactly the same. That's just gonna still give you a direct connect to our sales team. Our sales team will set you up in the proper space, and then our CS team will get you set up, ready to transact, and ready to hand things over to Jimmy and his team.
Perfect.
So I think that we can, at this point, I think we can open it up to Q&A. Is any questions anyone wants to ask? You can populate those in the Q&A box down below or the chat, and we'll get to them. Cody Burnett said, I didn't see that you have anyone in Arkansas. Is this a state that you've served with New Western?
No, unfortunately, no, we're not. It's and for Cody, if you want to look and see where we're at, I can go back over here to the slide. But also, if you go to newwestern.com on the front page, it's going to show you everywhere we're at. Unfortunately, we're not in Arkansas yet. Doesn't mean we won't be there down the road. But everywhere we're at, we're licensed. So even when we have, you know, towns closer to another state that it's in, our agents don't work across state lines because they're all licensed in that state. And so unless we're there, we're not doing business. Good question.
Jimmy, I had a kind of follow-up question. Do you guys have any markets kind of on the horizon that you're looking to expand into? I know you've been growing pretty rapidly.
Yeah, I'm not sure right now if there's any that are just like right around the corner or anything like that. That's a little bit outside of my wheelhouse here at New Western. Yeah, I'm not super aware of any, but for sure, once I'm made aware of something that's coming up, y'all will be the first to know.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I can see over the course of time where we can take this from being not only nationwide but just to full coverage, right? Like
Yeah.
as this grows and the opportunity grows, I see this
Well,
ecosystem just getting bigger and bigger over the years and leaving kind of no market untouched.
that's right. Yeah. I mean, whenever I started at the company a little over a decade ago, I think we were only at like maybe four. I think four. We had maybe just opened our fifth office. So yeah, we're slowly expanding, and we're definitely going to expand in the future. I just don't know as it sits today in September 12th. I'm not sure where's the next move at. Again, that's a little bit outside of my wheelhouse.
I just wanted to mention, I'm not sure if everybody caught it, that link to sign up for Launch Control via New Western to join the funnel is also listed in the chat below. So if you click on that chat button, you can find the direct link to it there. All right. Any other questions that we can answer before we wrap this one up? Go ahead and populate those real quick. Otherwise, we'll give you a sneak preview into what's coming up. All right, so what we're going to do with this, because this is, I think anybody listening here can see the not only the growth potential for your individual businesses with this funnel, but also just the growth potential for the entire ecosystem of launch connected to New Western. So this is not going to be a single webinar, a single opportunity to join this funnel. This is going to become, speaking of foundational, this is going to become something that's very foundational for both of our organizations. So we're going to do this as repeat touch points and make sure that you guys truly have every opportunity to take advantage of this for your businesses. So the next webinar we have coming up, we're going to focus on the automation elements that Jimmy mentioned. So how to automate your pipeline from data to dispo. That a part of that will come through automation on the launch control side. Part of that will come through automation on the dispo side with Jimmy and his team. And then we're going to do a third series on how to stand up new markets almost overnight, right? So like really getting into standing up new markets, which I know is a big want within the launch control community and obviously within the investment community in general. So stay tuned for updates on those. You will all get invites to those, and we're gonna continue this conversation and continue giving you opportunities to plug into this really profitable funnel. Jimmy, anything else you wanted to add before we wrap this one up?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, great. And yeah, we'll put for those next upcoming webinars. We will in the recap take a look for those, and we will put the dates for those. It's going to be in mid-October and early November, but we'll put the exact dates in the recap email. Just keep an eye out for those. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for attending. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.